Finally got here to Kennywood. Got parked. There's a couple different parking options. You can park for free, which is what I did. Which is apparently the furthest away from the entrance of the park, but I'm still close to the front of that part of the parking lot. Yeah, so according to the website, Phantom's Revenge will be closed today, which I talked about a little bit earlier. Hopefully I can still do everything else at least. I may try to talk to a supervisor about it, find out why they didn't post that, if they knew that they were going to close it for a specific reason, why they didn't post it till when they did. But I got to get through this park as quickly as I can, because I'm going to try to go to Waldameer today, and I have to drive home after that. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, looks like it's definitely going to be closed. But I'm here. I'm going to ride everything else that I can. Like I said, I may try to talk to a supervisor. I probably won't have time, so I'll probably just have to suck it up and not get to do that ride. So I apologize that I can't talk about that ride, because I've never done it before and I really wanted to do it. That's kind of why I'm here. But I'll do the best I can. Just got in the gate. They do have metal detectors. You can move through them fairly quickly, but they do have them. I don't really know where I'm going because I've never been here before. But yeah, it looks like Skyrocket's right here. So I may get on that. I don't really know if that's the closest ride in terms of where the entrance is. But I have to move through the park as quickly as I can, so I'll probably just go on all the rides as I get to them.
What is your issue today?
Something I've heard about Kennywood, as I've seen like pictures of it, videos of it, and stuff like that, is kind of how they're creative with their space. They don't have a whole lot of space, so like you see stuff like this where they put things on top of other things. Like I know there's some rides that are on top of buildings and stuff like that. This is Skyrocket, which is a Premier Rides launch coaster with it's got like a short train. The rides like the Tempesto clones and stuff like that are called the Skyrocket 2 model, so this is like the first that I guess they're named after. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna check it out. Just got off the Skyrocket. It's pretty good. Pretty fun ride. The launch is good. It's not, it only launches to 50, so it's not like super fast. But the power of the launch is actually, it's pretty good. You get a lot of airtime on it. I sat in the back. I think it's probably better in the front. I've only sat in the back, so I don't really know for sure, but I think the front's probably better. The top of the little top hat kind of hill that it goes up is trimmed at the top, which kind of kills the airtime, because you get airtime going over the top, and then it kind of just stops, and then you kind of get airtime going again over the other side. So it'd be better if it wasn't trimmed. The turn after that's pretty good. The inversions are pretty good. You only have a lap bar, so it's not, you don't have the over the shoulder. So the inversions are pretty good. It's got two corkscrew. They're like kind of a 0G roll, but kind of a corkscrew kind of inversions. Those are pretty good. It's got some more airtime hills on it. It's got some turns. It's got another vertical drop, which is good. So overall, it's a pretty good ride. I took a left after I got out the exit. There's Phantom's Revenge, which is unfortunately closed. We got this old flat ride here. I forget off the top of my head what these are called, what these ride models are called. This volcano ride is closed today. We got Ice Age 4D, which I guess is just like a 4D theater kind of ride. Not really a ride, but 4D theater kind of attraction. Yeah, there's a sign for Phantom's Revenge, which unfortunately is closed, and kind of upsetting. yeah, I'm gonna go see if I can get on something else. We got this guy right here. No running. Got the Music Express kind of ride. Yeah. The ride looks really great. I've heard a lot of really good things about it. At one time, it was the fastest roller coaster in the world for at least a little while. It used to be the Aero Looper. It used to be the Steel Phantom, which, you know, was like the biggest one around. I think it had the most versions, not entirely sure. Then they converted it. They got Morgan to convert it for them. And they basically put on new trains with the lap bars instead of the over-the-shoulder restraints. And they took out the inversions, which I don't think, you know, a whole lot of people like the inversions on it anyway because it's an Aero. You got a whole lot of headbanging. And this is kind of a family park, so it's, you know, it's not necessarily meant to cater to like really heavy thrill seekers. And basically they turned it into a hypercoaster because it is a hypercoaster. I don't think it's actually 200 feet tall, but you go down this first drop turn, and then you go up this hill, and then you dive into a ravine. And I'm pretty sure that drop is something like 224 feet tall or something like that. I'm pretty sure it was like the biggest drop in the world when it was built. But yeah, it's supposed to be a really great ride. I've heard a lot of really good things about it, but unfortunately, I cannot ride it today. We got this big Huss, I think it's a Huss at least, swing ride. We've got the chair swings over here. You got the Black Widow, which is a big, giant frisbee ride. I think it's the one made by Zamperla. I've actually heard a lot of really good things about this one. Supposedly it's one of the better ones. I'm not going to do it today because I don't have a whole lot of time. Because I'm trying to compensate for the fact that Phantom's Revenge is closed by getting a chance to go to Waldemere, which is kind of a last minute decision, and hopefully I can do. But yeah, supposedly that's one of the better frisbee rides. This is, I think, the old Kennywood section, which is supposed to be reminiscent of kind of the stuff that was here. There's a lot of history in the park. It's one of the older parks. Kind of a classic park, you know, kind of like a mixture of old and new a little bit. I mean, they've got like some pretty old wooden coasters that are, you know, still operating and supposedly running really well. I haven't gotten on one yet, so I'll definitely get you my thoughts on each of them when I ride them. But they have those. I think the Thunderbolt was rated like the best roller coaster in the world for a while. You know, but then they also got stuff like Phantom's Revenge, which is, you know, a pretty innovative ride when it was built both as Phantom and as Phantom's Revenge. They got the Skyrocket, which I'm pretty sure was the first one, one of the first, I guess, kind of short train models of the Premier rides. It's kind of like a Montezuma X-Car coaster kind of thing. You got the Whip over here. And the Exterminator, which is a spinning indoor coaster, which actually looks like it might be closed. I don't know. It's got a thing that's closed off in front of it. Maybe it's not. Well, I guess it's not. I guess this is the entrance here. So I guess I'll go ahead and check that out. I've heard good things about it. See you when I get off. I decided to go ahead and skip it for now. The line looks pretty long, and it's a, I think it's the Zamperla model of the spinning kind of Wild Mouse coaster, which I'm not sure whether or not this one's a clone of the other ones, because I think there's only like a couple different models of it. I'm not sure whether or not this one's a clone or not, but it's inside, and it's supposed to have good theming inside. But it's not really my top priority, and since I am running on limited time, I'm definitely going to go to the wooden coasters. Which is kind of what I'm here for, besides Phantom's Revenge, which is closed. And I may come back and do it on my way out if I have time. Generally, like, I like the spinning coasters okay. I'm not a huge fan of the those particular models of them, just because they're more like a Wild Mouse ride than anything else, where they go around tight corners and everything. But they don't have like some banks and stuff like some of the other ones do, where he kind of drops or anything like that. But you know, Black Widow looks cool. I like the big giant Black Widow that's on top of the entrance building. Yeah, I've heard really good things. This one's pretty big. Definitely really big for a Frisbee ride. This building looks kind of cool. The Pizza Pavilion. There's a lot of old buildings here, which is cool. And you know, they do a good job like trying to keep them preserved, keep them in the park rather than tearing them down and replacing them with other buildings. We got this Shoot the Chutes ride, which I think is actually closed today as well. Yeah, there's nobody on it. It's not running. It did say on their site that there are limited operations today, even before they posted the announcement that said that Phantom was going to be closed. And there was a few rides that it actually had listed, and it said like the dates that they were closing, and it's because they're setting up for their haunt stuff, which their haunt here is supposed to be really good. And actually, with my ticket that I bought online for today, they had a special deal where today was only $35, but then you also get a free haunt ticket. So I'm definitely going to have to come back because I really need to ride this ride. And hopefully it'll be open then. I'm going to ask somebody whether or not it's supposed to be open then. And kind of hold them to that when I get here, because I am definitely upset about it being closed, especially because the website didn't say it was going to be closed, at least not when I bought my ticket. Now it says that, but, you know, it's kind of a situation where, like, if I'm driving hundreds of miles to go to your park, and I bought a ticket, and I did my homework of actually looking on the site to see, like, what rides were going to be closed with the limited operations, and stuff like that, like, and I specifically made the choice to come here instead of a number of other parks that I could have done on my trip, assuming that this ride was going to be open, at least open, you know, at least plan to be open, you know, maybe to be down a couple of times or something, but assuming that the ride's supposed to be open, and then, you know, to show up and for there to be an announcement, like, literally probably a couple days after I bought my ticket, it's really just kind of upsetting. Got a little gift shop here. I do like how you can kind of like walk through the structure of the ride, which is pretty cool. It looks like, you know, it's kind of a terrain coaster, because, well, at least part of it, because you go through the ravine and everything. So it's kind of, it looks like a cool layout. It looks like it's in a pretty cool place in the park. But yeah, I'm coming up here on the Thunderbolt, I believe, or maybe the Jackrabbit. I think it's the Thunderbolt. And I'm gonna check that out because I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I like wooden coasters, even if they are a little bit rough. This one's definitely one of the older ones, but it should be good. Let me see if I can find. I don't know where the entrance is. I like the looks of the park. I like the buildings in the park. I think they look pretty cool. A lot of them are older buildings, so they have a lot of character. Yes, it is the Thunderbolt. Okay. There's a line for it. I don't know how to get to it. But yeah, like, I like the buildings. I was talking earlier about how they like to stack things in their buildings. So like over here, there's actually a dark ride up there, like where you can kind of see the second floor. I'll come around the other side in a second so you can see it better. But like on the second floor, they have their dark ride that goes through the top part of the building. But then underneath it, they have other stuff to kind of save space, which is cool. So I'm definitely gonna get on the Thunderbolt. Which looks like the entrance is right here, so I'm definitely going to do that. So I will see you in a bit. I just got off the Thunderbolt. It's really, really good. Actually, despite how old it is, it rides actually quite smoothly. I mean, there's a lot of lateral forces like around the turns and everything, which personally I've grown to like a lot. I kind of like it when I get thrown into the side of the seat on the turns, and it's really cool. The ride starts, like, one of the unique elements of the ride that it's kind of known for is you actually come out of the station and drop straight into the ravine, like a pretty decent sized drop. And then you kind of do like a little bit of out and back kind of stuff. I think you drop and then you go up and you turn and then you drop again. And then it's kind of funny because it has this hill that's almost like a double up kind of thing, but you double up into a lift. And then the lift takes you up there, and then you go around and you come down and kind of turn around and go up, and then you do it again, and then you actually go up, and then you go back into the ravine for like an even bigger drop, and then you kind of come around, and I think you do a couple more hills, and then you hit the brakes, and it's a lot of fun. Definitely, like, it's pretty cool to me how, like, the second half of the ride is like, you know, the best part of the ride. I mean, the first part of the ride is still good because you immediately drop out of the station into the ravine, and then you have the lift hill in the middle of the ride, which is pretty cool. They do have a policy on it, and I didn't understand why at first, but then I understood after I rode the ride. You are actually not allowed to ride the ride by yourself. Like, you're not allowed to sit in the seat by yourself. And I'm here by myself. So as soon as I saw that, I was a little bit concerned because I was like, well, I don't have a partner. I don't know how I'm going to find a partner. Basically what they do is if you're by yourself, they have you stand on the side of the platform, and then they find somebody else who's by themselves and they pair you up, which means that if there's not a single rider, but you're the single rider, you're the only single rider, you may actually have to wait quite a bit before you get on because they have to find you a single rider. Luckily, I was paying attention to this when I was in line, and I was just about to the station, pretty close, and there was actually a man waiting there who needed a partner, and I volunteered because I would, you know, so I actually got on quicker than I would have. That being said, the line wasn't really very long. The operations are pretty good, mainly just because they have like the bus bar thing. You don't have to do seat belts or anything like that. And they actually have to, such an old ride, they actually have to like push the train forward at a certain point, which is kind of funny. They actually push the train forward, and then they check your restraints, and then you go, and that's it. Which is pretty cool, because it's, you know, old school ride. It has the NAD trains, I think they are, which I've never experienced before. It's only open on one side, and the other side's closed. And so the reason why they don't let you ride by yourself is because for that entire second half of the ride, here's the auto race, which is like a little car ride. The reason why they don't let you ride by yourself is because whenever you come around, like after you do the lift and then you do the drops that kind of go into the turns around before you drop into the ravine, you really pretty much, like, you get a whole lot of lateral, and the person next to you will slam into you if you are sitting on the left side of the train, which I was, which is actually quite fun. I mean, I didn't mind it at all. So you definitely need a partner, because if you didn't have one, you would basically just fly around the whole time. But yeah, Thunderbolt was a lot of fun. Definitely one of my favorite wooden coasters, at least of the older ones. I mean, I don't know if it would go in my top 10, but it's still a whole lot of fun. There's this big building here, which has a food court inside, and it's one of the oldest buildings here. And the ceiling in there is really cool. They like preserved the original ceiling from, I think, maybe even the 1800s. And there's a food court in there. This is it's advertisement for Phantom Fright Nights, which I really think I am going to try to come to, because I really do want to ride the Phantom's Revenge. And I have a free ticket to it, so I might as well try. I mean, I'm usually pretty busy in October, so it's going to be hard for me to actually find a chance to go, because I do live far enough away to where I will have to get a hotel. And maybe get a little bit creative with with how I do that trip, and maybe add like, maybe that's when I can do some of the older parks here in Pennsylvania. Here's the carousel, which I think was like in the World's Fair or something like that. There's some kind of history about this carousel where they actually moved it from somewhere, and I think that they had another carousel building, and they were going to put it in that building, but it didn't fit in that building, so they had to build a new carousel building to fit the carousel. It looks really nice. I could be wrong about the World's Fair thing. I'm not really sure. I heard something about that. They got a paratrooper, and there's the racer, which is I think what I'm going to do now. Well, and the jackrabbit. They're both right here, so I don't know. I'll go one or the other. Maybe I'll do the jackrabbit first. So yeah, I've been here for about an hour and already done both the Skyrocket and the Thunderbolt. Hopefully the jackrabbit hopefully the other two rides won't take me very long. The jackrabbit line looks pretty long, so maybe I'll go ahead and do the racer first. I'll just have to see how the lines are, because I do need to kind of get out of here pretty soon. But yeah, I'll check in a little bit. I just got off the jackrabbit. It's pretty fun. It's kind of funny, you know, they got these really old trains. It was built in 1920, so you got these really old trains. And they just kind of have this little bar that's just kind of in place. And whenever you get in the train, you just kind of have to scoot around it, and then there's just a seat belt, and that's all you get. Again, like Thunderbolt, this is one where you come out of the station and you do a little turnaround, and then you basically just go straight down a hill into the ravine, and then you come up and do a turn through a tunnel, and then you go down, and then you come up and do another one of those double up kinds of things with the lift on it, and then you turn, and then you do what they're calling a double dip, which is a double down. There was a sign in the station that said that it's the only remaining coaster with a double dip, which I don't really believe that, because I'm pretty sure Wild One has one. Wild One at Six Flags America. It has both a double up and a double down. And then, yeah, some of the newer coasters I think have some here and there. So maybe it's just an old sign and they just haven't updated it yet. I'm gonna do the racer, which looks like it has a pretty long line. Hopefully it won't be too bad of a line. I just got off the Kennywood racer. It's okay. It's not bad. I think it's my least favorite of the three wooden coasters here. One of the unique elements of it is that you leave the station on one side and you come back on the other, which means that the entire thing, both sides, are technically only one circuit, which, if you're the kind of person that's really specific about coaster credits, that means that you have to ride both sides to get the credit. Unfortunately, because I am so limited on time here today, I only rode one side, which I guess means that I have half a credit. I don't know that I particularly care that much. I'll probably still just call it a credit. You can hate me if you want for that. But maybe I'll just call it a credit and put an asterisk by it saying that I have to do the other side of it next time I'm here. Which I will have to come back, because I haven't done Phantom, because it's closed. I may stop by Guest Relations on the way out and see if I can find out what the deal is with that. See if they can do anything for me. I don't think they will. But maybe they will. I don't know. But yeah. It's been a good day. The operations are pretty good overall. The only thing is on the racer, and it wasn't as big of a deal on the Jackrabbit, but you don't have they don't have separate lines for the separate rows on the train. So basically what happens is the grouper like undoes a chain, and it's a free-for-all, and everybody just kind of gets in a seat, which means that you don't really get to choose your seat unless you're like one of the first couple people behind the chain, which also does kind of slow things down. Another thing is their system of their like fast lane kind of thing, which they call, I think, the VIP coaster tour. They let those people essentially, like, I think there's a separate line for it on the newer rides, but on the wooden coasters, they basically just let those people up through the exit. And because there's no air gates or no queues for the separate lines, basically it holds up the entire loading process, because they have to let those people on and let them sit on the train before they even open the chain to let everybody else through. So it's just a little thing. It definitely did slow down the operations a little bit, but unfortunately I don't know if there's really a way around it, because they have to let those people on some way, and they can't just let them in the same time as everybody else, because probably you know, there wouldn't be seats in the right place. But then it becomes an issue, because if they take the seat that you want, then you can't really choose your seat. But you know, it is what it is. I got close to the back on the racer. I was in the very front on Thunderbolt, and I was in I think the second row on Jackrabbit, which, you know, it was fine. At least I was close to the front of the back on all the rides and not in the middle of the train, which is good. But yeah, I need to get out of here, because I need to go to Waldemere, and I have a lot of driving ahead of me today, and I don't want to get home too incredibly late, although I probably will, because I do have some things that I have to do tomorrow. But it's been good. Like I said, I may check by the guest relations on the way out if I can find it. But yeah, I'll definitely share my thoughts on the park in a little bit.